slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play it against sports at 48th and Vine.
With so much financial uncertainty, are you wondering if retirement savings will last? Markets ups and downs can keep you guessing, especially if you're approaching retirement or considering it. Hi, I'm Edward Jones, advisor Ryan Bach. If you have more questions than answers about what's next, let's work together to help you ensure you're prepared for the journey. After all, retirement isn't the end of the trek. It's a new beginning. Stop by our office at 8380 Old Cheney Road, Lincoln, Nebraska. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle.
Fans, are you craving the ultimate game day experience? Red Zone Sports Bar and Grill has your front row seat to all the action. Dive into delicious wings, juicy burgers, and ice-cold drinks, all served up with TVs covering every inch of the wall, so you'll never miss a play. Rally your crew, cheer on your team, and take advantage of game night specials every week. Stop in for a Nebraska basketball game with a party of 4 or more and receive a free pitcher of beer. Red Zone Sports Bar and Grill, right by the Lincoln Airport at 3111 Northwest 12th Street.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to Walk the Herd on 93.7 The Ticket, where unheard issues get brought to light and every perspective counts. Here are your hosts, Rebecca Pearson and Aniko Renee.
Good evening, Lincoln, Nebraska, 701. This is Walk the Herd, Rebecca Pearson and Aniko Renee. Welcome in. You there, Aniko?
I'm here.
Awesome. Okay. I'm just checking. I can't quite see. I got to adjust my microphone here, but that's all right. We'll wing it tonight. It's warm here. I don't know what the temperature is, 65 maybe. I put my jacket, my hat on, and had to take it back off walking up here from the house. So this is Walk the Herd, Rebecca and Aniko on 93.7 The Ticket. If you are new to Walk the Herd, we talk about unheard issues. No surprise there, because every perspective counts. And each week we have a great show. We have another great show tonight. And Aniko, we missed you last week. I had Daryl Kirkpatrick on talking about AI, but you had other things going on.
I do. That comes with age, apparently, is what I've been told. So you'll have that. But I'm back and better than I was. So
ready for the next 10 years, right?
Exactly.
Excellent. Well, we had a conversation last week with Daryl Kirkpatrick, who happens to be my brother, but that's kind of irrelevant, and very qualified person on some of the other side of artificial intelligence that you don't typically hear, particularly AI safety and superintelligence. And so if you missed that show, you can go back and listen to it on recording. It's a great read. He wrote a blog. We dropped that in the chat, so you can have everything all in one place. But tonight's show is about, what do we want to say? It's about religious tolerance, or how would you characterize tonight's show?
That's how I would characterize it. Accommodation, inclusion of religion, whether it's at the workplace and life, just kind of questioning our whys while adhering to people's core.
Right. Well, and I was thinking I've got all kinds of different things hopefully to bring to the conversation. If you want to participate or drop a chat to us on the text line or the YouTube stream, you can do that at 402-464-5685. 855. That's the Honda of Lincoln hotline, or the Sartor Heyman text line, or the YouTube chat, or any other way you want to try to communicate with us. We are happy to bring you into this conversation. We're not trying to convince you of anything. We're always having conversations about perspectives. And we might share some of how we feel, but that's just how we feel. You can feel a different way. As long as you're thinking about these topics, we are happy. And so we will kick it off then with so religious tolerance. You had this on your mind to talk about. What brought this to mind, and why did you want to talk about it tonight?
We haven't really touched base on religion, no matter where it is. I think it's kind of hard to these days and feel like you're not offending someone. But when every perspective counts, you can't really go wrong. But I think, especially now, in their current climate of changes and what's acceptable and what's not, it's important to talk about why someone else's views are important, and that embracing theirs doesn't mean losing yours.
Yeah, I think it's, I was thinking about this a little bit. It'd be fun to chat, and I like to keep our conversations new. We do some prep, but we don't talk about everything with each other ahead of time. So it's always a good conversation because it's very new and fresh. But I was just thinking about all the things that get wrapped up in the conversation of religious tolerance in the workplace in particular, right? That was what brought it up. And there's so many other things because it's one of the protected classes. You start talking about a lot of things we've discussed in other shows about understanding people's differences. But one of the things that I was thinking about really hard was I have Bad Bunny on the mind. why do you feel people are outspoken about, opinions of something that's different from them with no judgment, just, what's going on inside someone, do you think, when they're vocal about, hey, saying that's different and I'm not sure I like it?
Typically, I think as humans, we operate out of two emotions, which is fear and love.
Can't hear her.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I lost you, Aniko, so I'm not sure whether it's just us or it's you. So I'm looking at Jake. Yep. Want to chat again? Just see if we've got you. Otherwise, I'll carry on, assuming people can hear me.
Sure. How about now?
There you are.
Okay.
That's what happened. Let's try it again. The question was, why do we think people, are vocal about things that are different about them that maybe they don't like?
I think humans operate out of fear and love. So if it's not love, it's usually fear, whether that's fear of being left out, fear of change, fear of just the unfamiliar. I think it's kind of built into our human nature. And I think too, there's a lot of information available. Not all of it's always correct. And your feed is kind of always implementing your views. So it can be hard. You get used to kind of just knowing what you know and having your perspective be the only perspective. So once something else gets thrown in, it can kind of throw you for a loop. Like, what do you mean there's more life going on than just mine?
I'm glad you mentioned this sort of fear of missing out, because that was the first thing that came to mind. And the second thing, as I was preparing, I have lots of materials and links we can put in the chat to kind of trigger this conversation. But one of them was the ease at which it is to operate in homogeneity. Right? So to be around people that are different from you requires work. And thankfully, we all have habits, because that's how we don't have to relearn every day how to tie our shoes, how to put our pants on, how to brush our teeth. If we didn't learn and remember things that become very rote, life would be extremely difficult. So in one sense, it's great that we are working with that in our minds. On the downside of that, potentially, is it's then hard to deal with something that's different, right? It can be uncomfortable. I think fear of missing out, or fear of being different, or fear of not understanding, right? And fear isn't the word I think a lot of people would come up with, but when you say it out loud, and if you stop and think about it, I'd be curious if people agree with that, because that's kind of how I would classify that I feel. And there's certainly studies and research to show some of this.
Definitely. And I think we have to remember, one, everybody on that show was American, by the way things work. And two, how often and how many Super Bowl shows have we had that, when the translators weren't focused as their own piece, and you have deaf individuals who constantly don't know the language or constantly don't hear. So that's what makes me think it has to be this sense of like, but it's not mine. It's not for me, instead of like, oh, thank goodness, everybody has something.
Sure.
Because
And
you'd be upset if someone took yours, whatever that may be, religion, perspective, but if it's not right for people to take yours, it's kind of not your right to take others.
yeah, it's a very complex topic. And I think for what we try to do in this show is maybe just to get you to stop and think. And sorry to bring Bad Bunny up. It's just always on my mind because it's still kind of trailing, trailing through the news and trailing through social media and all of those things. And there's lots of perspectives that people have from all versions, 360 degree of the Bad Bunny halftime show. But I do feel like there's something personally I could relate to of yeah, feeling like I don't get it. And that's super tough. You have to be confident that not getting it is okay and be curious. Like, I would love to switch the conversation to being curious, which is one of the things that came up when I was looking at religious tolerance and how do you make that work in the workplace. So, anyway, we can get off Bad Bunny because that wasn't tonight's conversation, but it was.
No, and I think it's important because we're also a product of what we're taught. And if we're taught that America is just these two lines and not the full America, not Canada, not South America, not all these things, it automatically becomes form instead of inclusive. So it's important to be like, that is us too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, what's really cool is it does showcase on a very big stage, which is a lot of what the Super Bowl is about now, Super Bowl halftime, on a very big stage, something that's different. And I haven't, this is my space, right? Advertising, and the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl of advertising. And certainly my background, we've studied the Super Bowl, but I don't really know how and why they choose what they do for the Super Bowl halftime, other than everything is about eyeballs and revenue and popularity, and at the end of the day, kind of catering to the audience. So it always makes me stop and think, if they selected Bad Bunny, it's because there's an audience out there of size and majority that likes Bad Bunny. And as I said 2 shows ago, for the first time ever, I saw him on the Colbert show at night, and he was charming, absolutely charming from a personal perspective. So anyway, all right. I wonder if Bad Bunny has a proclaimed religion. I could hypothesize from where he's at, where he comes from, what it would be, but I don't know. Do you?
I don't know for sure, and I don't want to assume, but I too, geographically and typically, our Spanish population here in the DMV at least is typically Catholic. But that doesn't mean that he is. He could just be a spiritual individual who believes in himself. So that's the thing.
Which is great. Yeah. So maybe we'll put Jake Bachoven on the hunt there to see if Benito has actually claimed, with a name like Benito. I would also hypothesize Catholic.
I think Christian, because he thanked God in his Grammy speech.
Right. So, and you mentioned spiritual. So one of the things I thought would be good for us to start with on this conversation. So if you're just joining us, this is Walk the Herd. You're probably wondering why the heck we're talking about religion or Bad Bunny or whatever on 93.7 The Ticket. But we are here to share unheard perspectives. And Aniko and I always have some. So there we are. And being spiritual or a non-religion is also inclusive of our conversation, right? So just because we're talking about religious tolerance, it also needs to include being spiritual and not maybe identifying with any organized religion, which there's plenty of people out there. And the trends are more and more so of people not identifying with an organized religion.
Definitely, or even being more confident in saying, like, what we would, if you're classifying something agnostic, but saying, like, I don't know. I believe in the fact that I have no idea what happens when the time is done, or people who believe in science that say, you just go back to the dirt and it becomes a biological, thing that way. But I think, like we talk about all the time, every perspective counts because everybody in their living is working towards this end goal of like salvation or peace or remembrance, and it's driving you at all times. So it's important.
It seems to be core to humanity in some case, including people that I think would claim they're either atheist or agnostic. There's a sense that they have to declare even that. So when I say there's something in humanity, there is something where you must declare. Again, we could argue why you do that or what's happening or why that's the case, but the norms, right? This homogeneity that is everywhere in the world is Christian. 30% or more of the world population and 60% of the United States Christian. So you get this norm of, right, having to identify as something else, which is, man, the crux of unconscious bias, conscious bias, and everything else is not being the norm. But
and I think even Muslim and Islam is bigger than Christianity on a global scale. I think that's the majority, maybe.
Why don't you, if you want to research that, I did a little bit of digging, and perhaps my facts are incorrect. We have it's growing, but I don't think it's as big as Christianity yet. But it is the fastest growing.
You're correct. Followed by Islam.
Yes.
We're 1 billion off, but
Yes.
they're getting there.
Well, it's hard when China has a big Christian population, but they also, have a lot of mix. And then India, of course, doesn't fit either of those. So two largest countries in the world from a population standpoint will drive those trends. But it doesn't matter, right? It's sizable, certainly. And as it becomes sizable, now in the US, it's not even, right? The US is something, again, don't quote me on these. These are the facts that are readily available. I didn't spend a whole lot of time fact checking because I know them to be directionally correct from previous, but 60%-ish of the US identifies as Christian. So now you've got this norm. And whenever the non-norm shows up, we're back to, why do I feel uncomfortable? Is it fear? Is it more fear of missing out or fear of being, the non-norm, rejected, not glued in, right?
Yeah, judgment. Fear of judgment's a big one too, because how many kids say one nation under God every day and secretly have this twinge of like, well, not me, but I don't want to be the kid who's not,
Yeah, standing out, right? Being different. Gosh, it's just everything circles back to the same issues. So it's not really about religion per se, right? It is about differences, but it's a great topic to talk about. So what's been your experience with religious tolerance or intolerance or declaring atheism or agnostic or whatever? What's been your experience?
Well, as far as declaring, I do find it interesting because, like you said, it's almost like you have to. Even my therapist asked me, what are your spiritual beliefs? Like, to better understand who I am as a person. And I was kind of like, I don't know anymore. I grew up, in a very Christian household and always believed like there is no other option. But the older I get and more I observe humanity as a whole, I'm kind of like, sometimes the math doesn't math for me. So I believe in my ancestors and my loved ones that have passed away and things like that. But as far as the workplace, I think you notice little nuances, like someone who may have like scripture on a frame or their favorite Bible verse posted. I've also seen some of the younger generation with the current genocide that's going on post pretty openly flyers or flags that are saying like Free Palestine. At my last job, this occurred, and they were actually reported by someone at work for having that out. So I think, again, we go back to what is the normal or majority, even though we're supposed to be, freedom of religion is supposed to be a pretty big deal around these parts. So it's kind of funny how things,
right?
yeah, right. But things kind of fall into ethics, but not even at a legal standpoint that you have to accommodate, because I don't see many people who feel the freedom to use their 15-minute break for prayer or to stop and not attend a meeting on time to prayer or worship, or Even I've had friends that fast during Ramadan and are substantially more tired, substantially worn down, maybe a little cranky from not eating. And it's still being seen as like, well, what's her problem? I'll report her to HR. And it's like, we're not doing the thing, you guys. We're not doing we're not doing the thing. It has to be ethics based more so on like your moral compass of right or wrong and bettering people in society.
Well, and in the workplace. So some of the things you mentioned, I was thinking about this. I worked a global job. So I worked with every religious identification possible. And we had a very open workplace. And we would often talk about the differences. And particularly when traveling to a country. So I've been to all those, I've been to any number of countries that have culturally maybe a stronger religious identification or none at all, certainly. So I lived in Europe for 3 years. The Europeans are a very atheist, agnostic in large part. I mean, they probably still, I didn't look at those statistics, probably still have 30, 25, maybe 25% Christian or something like that. But that means 75% or something else. And a lot of them are just don't identify at all. So I felt it there. And I lived there in the early 2000s, just absolutely nothing. And so that translated into the workplace. I worked there for 3 years, very agnostic feeling workplace. I get back, I worked I worked in Europe there mostly, but then I had every country exposed. And so very heavy Catholicism in Europe, if you have it in some of in the big four countries, I guess, France kind of veering off there. And then certainly dealing with a new campus that was built for ExxonMobil and built largely to accommodate the trends of the future workforce. So then we had prayer rooms and mothers' rooms, and we had, as a corporation would, employee resource groups for every organized group and anybody that wanted to organize a group, pretty much, right? So super, super tolerant. And I'd like to talk maybe after we got a few minutes where we have to take a break. Maybe when we come back from the break, I was researching the different types of workplace philosophies. And yes, it creates, again, it's challenges, it's work. It's work when everybody's not homogenous. So you'd have things like meetings where someone was, had to go off and pray or something. You had Saturday is a holy day in Egypt, where I'm thinking about it, but certainly for Islam, Saturday is the holy day, not Sunday. So you didn't want to be having meetings or working or emailing people, all these there's just all this stuff to consider. So a lot of my experience comes from working a global job.
And that sounds like the dream to me, for everyone to actually feel the freedom to practice, because it's there. You have to allow people to, but it doesn't mean that it necessarily happens or people feel comfortable. So that's a beautiful thing. But do you think there were any negatives at all that you saw? Like, I think one of the big arguments is like, well, if we, time off, if we honor every holiday, we won't have anybody in office, or conflict of interest. Like, what were negatives that you saw, if any?
I don't know if they were negatives, more so than challenges that had to be thought about. Again, it's hard to accommodate differences, especially when you're used to working in the majority. And again, man, I can't say it any clearer that this is the source of all differences and bias in the system is the norms. It's the easy thing to do. And if you're not dialed in to it, then you aren't even aware that you're doing it. This is just fundamental to every single type of bias there could possibly be, because it's about differences. And so I think the challenges were, they weren't negative, but they were very visible in accommodating. Okay, so-and-so can't be in a meeting. Of course, we were terrible. We would have meetings during lunch and whatever, right? So we shouldn't have been doing that anyway, but our particular division was famous for bringing in lunch and everybody working through lunch. It's corporate, what am I going to say? But, somebody wouldn't be there at lunch because they're off doing a prayer. And then you couldn't have a conversation because they weren't in the room and they were important to the conversation. And then somebody's a vegetarian, right? Or some kind of food thing that maybe or maybe not tied to the religion, right? There are lots of people that are various versions of vegan that have nothing to do with their religion, but many of them are. And then you'd forget and order in food, and then that person couldn't eat, and then it'd be very obvious they're not eating and they have to go get something, right? So then they're out of the room and you can't have the meeting, right? There's all these kind of logistical things that they weren't negatives, they just had to be dealt with. And that's when things became very apparent. And I can only imagine if you were the one person that, you don't want to be a burden. You don't want to disrupt the process. If you're the single one that's the odd man out, there's a lot of anxiety that probably goes with that.
Definitely. I think that's why my perspective in leadership was to try for my team to make new normals, having a community calendar so everyone knew what was going on and what was coming up. And that provides an environment, invitation to get a present, that too, a present or a card, or, be a little more patient or understanding, because it is in fact a team. So to have an odd man out, and with the amount of time we spend at work, typically it's your second family. You can't have rifts like that to have productivity, to have workplace, success, comfortability. It just doesn't work without it.
Right. Well, we need to take a break. Maybe when we come back, I can go to this article and just share these kind of 4 styles, and we could talk about that. I got lots of other stuff, and I know you do too. So this is Walk the Herd with Aniko and Rebecca. We'll be right back after the break.
Imagine starting your day with a computer glitch that leaves you feeling stuck, frustrated, and unable to get your work done. You have 1,000,001 things to get done today, and waiting for the tech issue to solve itself isn't one of them. It's time to let Hamilton handle the tech so you don't have to. We help businesses across the state spend more time on what they do best and less time frustrated with office technology. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we're focused on providing custom solutions that set you up for success now and in the future. Connect with us today at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320. Bundle up, bring your crew, and make this winter one for the books with Bachfest on Saturday, February 21st at Beer House. Enjoy winter brews that will tangle with your taste buds, polka dancing, games like Hammerschlagen and Stein Stamina, and more. Bach beer will be flowing, and sausages and pretzels will be available for purchase. Doors open at 11 a.m. and the party goes outside until 6 p.m. before moving inside. VIP tickets are $75, but just $10 gets you in the door. Buy your tickets today at beerhousene.com for Bachfest on Saturday, February 21st.
Rick Heyman here from Sauter Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sauter Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sauterheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
A new year means it's time to try new things. If you haven't tried Führer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For the days you don't want to go to the gym, don't worry. Führer's cheese spread is there to cheer you up. And for the days you do get to the gym, why not celebrate when you get back with the best dip around? Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Fuhrer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
Imagine starting your day with a computer glitch that leaves you feeling stuck, frustrated, and unable to get your work done. You have 1,000,001 things to get done today, and waiting for the tech issue to solve itself isn't one of them. It's time to let Hamilton handle the tech so you don't have to. We help businesses across the state spend more time on what they do best and less time frustrated with office technology. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we're focused on providing custom solutions that set you up for success now and in the future. Connect with us today at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Tomorrow is about the lessons we learn today. A farmer's market teaches us that community is grown together. Kids laughing shows us how joy is easy. And coffee on the porch reminds us to savor every moment. These are the lessons that shape a tomorrow we all share. One filled with trust, good company, and wide open dreams. That's the way banking should be. And that's Pinnacle Bank. Member FDIC.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT. From cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio, video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between. We'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
You're listening to Walk the Herd on 93.7 The Ticket. Here are your hosts, Rebecca Pearson and Aniko Renee.
Welcome back to Walk the Herd, Sunday night, 7:30, Lincoln, Nebraska. Nice warm night out. And it's Rebecca and Aniko talking about religion, which is a great topic, actually. Don't turn that dial if you're just tuning in. I promise it's not going to scare you. It's actually more interesting about our differences and the workplace and Bad Bunny. So Mr. Bachhoven ran down the rabbit hole for us, no pun intended, and concluded that indeed Mr. Bad Bunny was probably raised Catholic. It seems that's pretty apparent, but also that it doesn't appear he's at least outspoken about any practice. So he's not one of those that maybe talks about it. Whether or not he practices wasn't super clear. So we were able to get that little factoid, which was just kind of a factoid, nothing to do with that. But we are back from the break. And prior to the break, we were just talking about all our assorted experiences of working with different cultures and different religions. And did you have any thoughts, Aniko, before I dive into something I found that I thought was worth sharing? Oh, maybe we can't hear her.
Mic here, yeah.
Okay, we forgot to unmute you.
LOL. I said I think we're doing a great job covering perspectives that aren't necessarily normal. So I'm ready for your article.
Okay. All right. I will drop these in the YouTube chat in case anybody's listening to this on recording at some point and want to look at this. But this article is actually from the Denver Institute. Let's see, the Denver Institute of Faith, I think is what it's called. And I don't know that it matters as much as it kind of gave 4 different ways of companies and examples, which I also think was interesting. And one of the reasons I wanted to bring it up, because it's always fun to talk about companies we've all heard of different ways that faith is in the workplace, which is what we're talking about tonight. And we're not talking about the different types of religions per se, but more about incorporating religion. So the 4 types are faith avoiding. That's probably fairly obvious, but I'll go into these, but I want to give the 4. Faith tolerant, faith based, and then faith friendly. And that's really a spectrum, as you might imagine, from no faith, right, to what did I say? I can't remember. Faith avoiding to faith friendly. Yeah. Okay. So faith avoiding is truly that uncomfortable workplace that many people probably still work in, where it's just not talked about. Or there's a feeling where religion's really off the radar and it's not comfortable and people really don't want you to talk about it.
Did you grow up with that sentiment of don't like I was always taught, my mom would say, don't talk about religion, don't talk about politics, and don't talk about money.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
always found that to be the oddest thing, because that's the only way you can fight, non-inclusion. Like, you have to talk about it.
Well, yeah, I absolutely did. And going along with that is conflict avoidance. People do not like conflict, and people don't always agree. And so I feel like a lot of it is the workplace doesn't know how, never mind, right? Personal lives or whatever. You can have all of this going on in your personal life or in your personal circle. We're just talking about the workplace at the moment for illustration. But yeah, it's uncomfortable. It's awkward if you haven't been taught or allowed to engage in this conversation. You don't even know how to do it, And again, you have all ranges of comfort level, curiosity to, I don't want to say the wrong thing, right? Again, it's not the fear of missing out. It's just the fear of being wrong or not knowledgeable and being judged, right? Good grief, all that stuff exists.
Right.
So
And
yeah,
assuming even, people have the best interests at heart, fear of, like you said, saying the wrong thing or offending someone. Like, there is such a culture of everyone somehow supposedly supposed to have all this information about everyone and everything. When in reality, again, if we don't talk about it and ask each other, that's the easiest way to figure out what does or does not make or break someone.
yeah. Well, in this case, in this article, and I like this, we'll drop it in the chat. And by the way, if you want to participate in this conversation, you're always welcome to call in or drop us a text at 402-464-5685 or put something in any of our social media platforms. Mr. Bakoven will find it. This one was talking about Abercrombie because there was a very big case where a Muslim teen was turned down because she wore a headscarf. And headscarves or any kind of head covering of any kind often will signify a possible connection to a particular religion, right? Men and women. And this was obviously very overt and not allowed type of discrimination for this person to be dismissed, I guess, or she was turned down for a job. I don't even know how they concluded that it was because of that. But it basically was just trying to highlight that companies aren't prepared for how to handle issues and aren't prepared. Maybe just weren't, in that case, probably just hadn't trained somebody young who was hiring that that's not allowed, right? It could be as simple as unintentional, but still doing it.
I remember that specifically because I grew up when Abercrombie was very popular, and like being a model was like, oh, you really have that look.
Huge.
But I had a friend that worked at Abercrombie and told us the books, in terms of like for the manager and hiring, said like braids are messy, nobody too dark, like very blatant, like in their code published. So it was fascinating to me to be like,
yeah, the CEO, I mean, Abercrombie's actually a very interesting case study. There are books about it. There are stories. There are movies, documentaries, all kinds of stuff. Abercrombie was unfortunately notorious for all kinds of discrimination. Their male models in particular, like just, unbelievable. Not something you want to do, folks. And not even in today's world is, faith avoiding and even something that you'd want to work at. But I bet you there are people out there right now saying, yep, I work in that environment. Then there's faith tolerant. And, they give the example of Fannie Mae here, actually. And this is more positive, of course, faith tolerant. And that certainly would suggest there are policies in the workplace that address it. So at a bare minimum, if you're reviewing your handbook, with policies in it for non-discrimination that would be mentioned. There might be a little bit of training in it. They said that Fannie Mae, in this case, incorporates religion into its culture. They have diversity office sponsors and they have network groups. And they have a multicultural calendar like you were talking about. And I don't know if you feel like the workplace you were in was faith tolerant or maybe further down the spectrum.
With it being a government agency, they kind of had to be more on the terms of tolerant because we have a Black governor in the state of Maryland. So it's extra woven in that like no type of discrimination is going to be tolerated. Mm-hmm. So they're quite efficient with it. But I think on a local level, like a county, small town level, again, it was more acceptable to have someone could have like a Bible verse posted, but the minute my friend Suha posted her free Palestine flag, someone literally wrote her up. So it was like,
Wow.
it's tolerant, but for whom? Sometimes.
Well, and we talked about tolerance. It could border on political, right? I can see how Free Palestine would even get into a political realm, or it could, border on some other statement that's not religious, right? It depends. Things can be confused. And of course, if you're not informed, you might immediately jump to something like that without understanding that actually wasn't what it was about, right? You have to be pretty well informed. And so how do you get informed? And what I love about this particular article is it says the challenge for each one of these types, it gives you a challenge. It says the greatest challenge with the faith tolerant model is that employees want to be more than tolerated by their employers. They want to bring their full selves to work, right? This is a common topic of bringing your whole self to work.
Yeah, and this person was in the division of, human services inclusion, diversity, equity, and inclusion was her position. So it was extra fascinating to kind of see the hypocrisy in what is supposed to be so well maintained.
Right. Well, back to it requires work time, education, awareness, and it's hard. It's hard because you have to be all of those things and then try to accommodate, never mind incorporate, which is where we're going with this next one of incorporating what goes on with having more than just tolerance of someone's faith. So if you get to faith-based, and this is one everybody wants to talk about, I guarantee you the example they have here, a faith-based company. So can you think of a faith-based company that comes to mind? This is one that builds their culture around an actual faith.
I mean, technically they're 501(c)(3)s and don't get taxed, but I know many churches around here that run daycares and employ people and pay them salaries. So I would have to say the Christian church here locally.
Okay. Well, definitely. Now I'm going to give you a for-profit business that is faith-based called Chick-fil-A.
Ah, yes. The Lord's calories, as we call it.
What do you call it?
The Lord's calories.
All right. I think we even got a snicker out of Jake. You like Chick-fil-A, Jake?
Oh, yeah, sure. Not on Sunday, though.
Not on Sunday. That's right. Because you can't.
That's right.
We have one here that's open on Sunday, believe it or not.
Really?
In tiny little Maryland. Yes, we do. In Charlotte Hall.
It's an actual standalone store. I wonder how they got approval to do that.
I guess enough of the talk of it being so religious, maybe possibly someone not putting their mouth where their money is and not spending.
I didn't think they were allowed to. We have a very strong franchise here. Charlie Colon, shout out to you if you're listening, because he's our franchise owner in the south of Lincoln for a Chick-fil-A. I'll have to ask him. That's kind of interesting that you have one. I wonder if in airports and things like that, whether they're allowed to be open. Maybe they have an exception. But it's one we all know. So that's a great example. Everybody knows, because everybody knows Chick-fil-A is not open on Sunday, except now we know it's open in Southern Maryland. So you could get in your car. If you're hankering for the sauce, whatever that sauce is called, you can drive to Maryland and get it on Sunday.
Exactly.
The other one,
the only time I want it is on Sunday.
Hey, it's possible. Now we know it's possible. All right. You're just tuning in. We're talking about Chick-fil-A and religion. And it's Walk the Herd, where every perspective counts, and we share the unheard perspectives. So we're talking about how to accommodate religion in a workplace and the different ways of doing it and the different levels of doing that. And we're just talking about Chick-fil-A, but I also want to mention Whole Foods because they talked about Whole Foods allowing a Buddhist magazine in their merchandise selection. But apparently this was a big deal. Because the acceptance of offering different types of religious magazines in a place like that brought attention to them. There was also a e-commerce company. This one was interesting, called Eved. I think that's how you pronounce it, where they claim that they have a unique set of regulations because the Quran prohibits charging interest. This is a group of bank owners. and they can't charge interest, which I've heard this before. I just, haven't embraced the concept, right? So this religious thing driving a business outcome. So there's all kinds of interesting things, you guys. If you're tuning in and listening to us, we are covering the gamut of religious touches to business, to life, and to working together. So the challenge that they mentioned with this model is just how you get that common sharing of faith, and do that and incorporate with the EEO. And I'm not an attorney, nor am an HR expert, so I'm not going to tell you how to do that, but it is clearly possible to do that. And this is where the leaders build the company around their faith. Okay, and then you have faith friendly. So we'll do this right before we go to a break. So faith friendly is the one that actively welcomes conversations about beliefs, backgrounds, and religious faith. And just like you would welcome a conversation about any other variants of race, sex, gender, whatever religion falls into that as well. And what you have to have, we've talked about this before, psychological safety to be able to have this conversation, don't you think?
Absolutely. And I've found that typically jobs I've had that offer this type of safety are typically in the nonprofit sector. When I work for nonprofits and with nonprofits, it seems like they're the first to understand the importance of we're all in this together.
Great. Well, we have to take a break. When we come back, I think you have a host of questions and things you want to bring up. Sorry, I kind of hijacked that segment. I apologize.
I enjoyed it.
Okay, we're going to take a break. This is Aniko and Rebecca with Walk the Herd. When we come back, we got more questions and conversation around religion in the workplace, but it's not what you think. We're talking about Chick-fil-A and Whole Foods and a whole bunch of other stuff. So we'll be right back after the break.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Just got the brakes fixed on my car today.
You did? You haven't even left the office.
I didn't need to. I got a guy who picks up my car and drops it off when it's done.
Well, who's your guy?
Graham Tire. They have pickup and delivery service at all 5 of their Lincoln locations.
Schedule your service online on the Pickup and Delivery tab at GrahamTireLincoln.com. That's GrahamTireLincoln.com. Let us do the running. Some limitations apply. See store for details.
Gentlemen, are you ready for something beyond the ordinary haircut? At Scissors and Scotch Lincoln, they blend your old school barber feel with your favorite watering hole. Sink into a comfy chair, unwind with a complimentary drink, and let their master barbers handle the rest. It's not just grooming, it's an experience. Whether you're prepping for a big meeting, needing to get cleaned up before family comes to town, or just need a little time to yourself, Scissors and Scotch Lincoln delivers sharp style every time. Book now at Scissors and Scotch in Lincoln, just south of 30th and Yankee Hill Road.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Bundle up, bring your crew, and make this winter one for the books with Bachfest on Saturday, February 21st at Beer House. Enjoy winter brews that will tangle with your taste buds, polka dancing, games like Hammerschlagen and Stein Stamina, and more. Bach beer will be flowing and sausages and pretzels will be available for purchase. Doors open at 11 a.m. and the party goes outside until 6 p.m. before moving inside. VIP tickets are $75, but just $10 gets you in the door. Buy your tickets today at beerhousenee.com for Bachfest on Saturday, February 21st.
Rick Heyman here from Sauter Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sauter Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sauterheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
A new year means it's time to try new things. If you haven't tried Führer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For the days you don't want to go to the gym, don't worry. Führer's cheese spread is there to cheer you up. And for the days you do get to the gym, why not celebrate when you get back with the best dip around? Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Führer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
Way out there where the sun comes up under the big red sky, I do life the way I love, with family by my side. I feel home with me, no matter where I go.
Proud of where we're from, excited for where we're going. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
You're listening to Walk the Herd on 93.7 The Ticket. Here are your hosts, Rebecca Pearson and Aniko Renee.
Welcome back. This is Walk the Herd at 93.7 The Ticket. Sunday night, we're in our last segment. We're talking about Chick-fil-A, Whole Foods, Fannie Mae, religion. What else do we do? Bad Bunny. We got it all covered. Aniko, I've been all over the map. This is your turn. You got a list of things you want to talk about. Thanks for joining us. What are we talking about next?
I've been weaving them in, so we've covered a lot of what I had. But I think, we've talked about why someone might be reluctant to participate in adhering or accommodating to religious differences. But from a business standpoint and your standpoint, what are the benefits? Like, how important is this incorporation to getting the most out of your employee or creating a better work-life balance for someone? How important is it?
Yeah, of course, I believe in having differences because I've seen the data where accommodating people's differences make you stronger. And if I could talk to a few things that I hopefully will be head nodders to anybody listening, and our show is about the unheard perspective. So we're talking about some of the challenges of having varying degrees of faith in the workplace and how that is accommodated. There are certain requirements from an EEO standpoint that you can't discriminate, but the strength of bringing in all the different work styles and accommodations that people think of. So you've got things like dress, food, days off, prayer times during the day. I'm trying to think what else there would be. Just times of year where people are cranky because they're not eating. If you are doing Ramadan, so all kinds of things. And when people feel like they get to live the life they're accustomed to living. All right, so this is getting that employee to be firing on all cylinders, because anytime you ask somebody to accommodate something different that requires them to do something very different than what they've done, then they're maybe not performing as well as they could. And if I look at the benefit of running a business and getting the most out of everybody. It's you want to get the best out of everybody. So you want to do those kinds of things so that you're getting the most and best out of somebody, and that you have a culture that then allows for other things. So even if it's not a religious difference, but a gender difference or just a personal preference, right? We could talk politics, you name it, anything. An accepting environment should be more about curiosity and leveraging people's talents and strengths. That's what I saw, and why ExxonMobil is so focused on making sure that those things were incorporated, particularly when we built the new campus where we were learning a lot, right? These accommodations and understanding have changed quite a bit over the years.
Right. And that all makes sense. And I kind of wonder, that's very easy and simple. Like if you want someone to do their best and be at their best, you have to allow them to do that. But the funny thing to me is so many religions often incorporate like loving thy neighbor and not being the person to judge and being open and honest. So I kind of wonder where that disconnect comes from. I don't know if it's money being involved, perhaps, the root of all evil, so they say. If that makes the disconnect so much stronger, like I would think, at least in my perspective, that people would be like, let me be doing the Christianly or whatever it may be. This take on bettering others' lives and myself. What is the disconnect there?
Loaded question, right? We have all seen people that we think we know are religious and maybe do things that don't seem to live up to what we think that expectation would be. I can only speak from a Christian perspective because it's the one I know the best, that perfection is not required. And I would say that if I was going to take the explanation of people make mistakes, people don't always do, but they're on a journey of trying to be better, then some of it is that. So how can you incorporate, the good ways, incorporate that into a workplace would be kind of how I think about it.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And I go back to just talking to each other more. By incorporating all, it doesn't isolate anybody. So that's the goal. Teamwork makes a dream work.
I love it. And on that, we will close up Walk the Herd. Man, our time just flies by, Aniko. Great to have you back.
It really does.
We are closing out. Yeah, thanks. We're closing out the show today on 93.7 The Ticket. We'll see you next Sunday on Walk the Herd.
Are you looking for something different for lunch or dinner in Lincoln? Big 8 is now open at 1226 P Street, serving seafood